welcome to The Tonight Show. My name is Jimmy Fallon. Hi. Let's get to the news and jokes. Well, guys, after months of speculation, Joe Biden finally made the announcement we've all been waiting for.
We're coming on the air with breaking news. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has made his choice. NBC News has confirmed that Biden has picked California Senator Kamala Harris to be his running mate, the first woman of color in history to be chosen for such a position.
That's right. Joe Biden has selected Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. Kamala is the daughter of two immigrants. She went to Howard University. She's a Democratic senator from California. That's an inspiring story. Unless you're Trump, then it's a Stephen King novel. Yeah, in a statement, Kamala said, "I'm very much looking forward to serving as president." Vice president. I mean vice president. Biden announced his selection in a tweet and called Kamala a fearless fighter for the little guy. Then Dr. Fauci was like, "Thank you." She's only had the job for a few hours, but Kamala is already gearing up for her debate with Mike Pence. That's why she spent the entire day arguing with a mannequin at Kohl's. Yeah, Kamala Harris has been chosen by Joe Biden as his running mate and potential vice president. Biden was quick to hold a virtual press conference to discuss his decision, and people were very excited to talk about it. Take a look.
Hey, folks, thanks for joining me on your Zoom boxes. I'm sure you're all buzzing like a honeypot to talk about Kamala. You know, I'm thrilled to announce her as my running mate and can't wait for all the excitement and experience she brings to the team. But before
Mr. Vice President, what are Kamala's plans for the country once she gets into the White House?
Well, Kamala and I will work together, hand in hand, in the White House to restore the soul of this nation.
Mr. Vice President, how does it feel to be reaching this exciting moment in your campaign? Kamala Harris, wow.
Well, you know, I thought we were running a pretty exciting campaign before this, but...
That's all.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Biden, I have a foreign policy question.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Has Kamala asked about me?
Ask about you? No. How is that a foreign policy question?
Oh, I was just hoping to take a trip with her.
All right, come on.
Vice President Biden, when you are the president,
Thank you.
I think Kamala Harris is amazing and inspiring.
Is that a question?
I think Kamala Harris is amazing and inspiring?
Okay.
Is Kamala nice in person?
Yes, she's very, very nice.
Knew it. You can just tell. Very kind eyes.
I have a question, Mr. Oh my God, what was your name again?
Joe Biden.
Of course, Jim. My question is Kamala here?
No, she's not.
Aww.
But I can send a link to her virtual speech in the chat.
Yay!
All right, does anyone have a question that is not about Kamala Harris?
I do.
Great, shoot.
How is Barack Obama doing?
Seriously?
And follow-up question, do you think you would ever want to be the vice president again? Maybe like next?
Oh, okay, that's enough. I'm excited to have Kamala running beside me in this campaign, and we will work together with me as the president and Kamala Harris as the vice president. And that's how it's going to go. Okay? Okay.
Madam President.
I think you're confused, Jack.
No, I'm just practicing.
Look, this is, I know people are excited about Kamala.
Yay!
Biden. Kamala.
Yay!
All right. Heck, I'm almost taking this personal here. But listen, at the end of the day, I suppose old Joe should take it as a compliment. I believe in this woman, even if she handed me my rear at the debates. And together, we can accomplish anything. Thank you all for coming. I do have to go. I am late for another engagement. Thank you all for coming. How do you get off this thing? Ah, hell.
Oh, that was interesting. Well, guys, here's some big news. It was announced today that there's a new vaccine to treat the coronavirus. Sort of.
Breaking news this morning, Vladimir Putin claiming Russia has developed and approved the world's first coronavirus vaccine, a claim that is being met with heavy skepticism, despite Putin announcing his own daughter is among the first to receive a dose.
That's right. Russia now claims to have a coronavirus vaccine, which is great because if there's one thing I know about Russia, they never lie about drug tests. Oh, no. Vladimir Putin defended the new vaccine. He was like, don't worry, just like upcoming U.S. election, results are totally legitimate. That's right, the new COVID vaccine has been approved by 4 out of 5 Russian scientists. And in a related story, 1 out of 5 Russian scientists are now missing. What did you say? That's right, over the course of just under 2 months, the vaccine was tested on a couple dozen people, some even willingly. Just to prove it's safe, Putin said that one of his daughters actually got the vaccine. I don't know much about his family, but I know that that kid is definitely his Don Jr. Maybe the vaccine will work. So far, the only side effects are depression, hunger, and chills. Although in Putin's defense, that's how everyone walked in before the vaccine. So, in his announcement, Putin said, quote, "It works effectively enough." That's like your doctor saying, I got most of the ringworm. Yeah, well, we'll be fine. When asked about the vaccine, the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services said, the point is not to be first. Then Trump was like, yeah, great. A vaccine on my desk by lunch or you're fired. Speaking of the president, last night at the White House, he tried to talk about the 1918 pandemic, and he was a little off on his history. Watch this.
The closest thing is in 1917, they say, right? The great pandemic certainly was a terrible thing. Probably ended the Second World War. All the soldiers were sick.
Come on. Not too bad. He was only off by 2 decades. What's the big deal? Why? Congratulations, it's a baby boy, and he can vote. Trump's basically like the baseball coach who subs in when the history teacher gets sick. All right, World War II is, let's just put on a movie. You guys like Sandlot? Trump was like, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to retweet it. At this point, Trump's teleprompter is just a shrug emoji. Then Trump said, and I believe the war ended when President Truman uttered his famous words, "It is what it is." Meanwhile, Trump is thinking about a move that would affect Americans who traveled abroad. Check this out.
The Trump administration is now reportedly considering a new rule that could block American citizens and permanent residents from returning to the country if they are suspected of having coronavirus.
That's like if Pinterest said, sorry, no more wedding stuff. Seriously, that's like Walmart saying nobody's allowed inside with a barbed wire tattoo. That's like a Motel 6 saying, look, we don't want anyone in here with bed bugs, okay? Yep, schools and college football are fine. It's Bob and Doreen coming home from Toronto that's the problem. And this is interesting. It's only August, but check out what's already showing up in stores.
We're still in summer, but Halloween candy displays have arrived even earlier this year.
Why do we even need Halloween this year? Every day we're walking around in a mask, completely terrified. Yeah, the good news is now you can walk into any pharmacy and get Halloween candy. The bad news is still no Clorox wipes. Meanwhile, CVS employees are carrying Christmas trees like, you guys still talking about Halloween? Listen to this. A new study shows that using mouthwash could reduce the risk of contracting coronavirus. Study might be good news, although now it feels like we're one press conference away from Trump telling us to inject scope. And finally, this is pretty crazy. A professional stuntman decided to propose to his girlfriend after lighting himself on fire. Take a look at this thing. Wow. And just to mess with them, she was like, let me think about it for a sec. I'm kidding. She said yes, and then things took a turn when he jumped up and hugged her. No, it was cute right up until she ran off with the fireman who saved that guy's life.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on.